Hello YouTube, it's Tony. So today I'll show you the top 10 most useful non-combat skills for 2019. What I mean by non-combat skills are skills that do not affect your combat level. So why only non-combat skills? Well, the reason being is because every combat skill, in my opinion, is equally amazing to train, so that is why you should always go after your combat skills first. I also do have 1 to 99 guides, which I'll definitely leave the link in the description. Before I start this video, I'm going to base this criteria off a couple of factors. Number 1, this is geared towards main accounts. If I were to factor this in for Iron Man, this would be an entirely separate video. The big reason why is because main accounts can buy their own supplies as opposed to use the skills to gather them. For example, one huge difference would be fishing and cooking because this is the primary method for gathering food, well, up until you get to the point where you can PVM on your Iron Man account. I'm basing this criteria off on what has the best overall impact, as well as including the fact that some of these skills have some nice money making methods. Finally, this video isn't a goal on what 99s you should go after first. To kick things off at number 10, we have Divination. One of the main benefits of Divination are Sign of the Porters and Sign of Life. So Sign of Porters will make gathering skills a little bit easier because it will automatically bank them for you. Sign of Life will revive you when you die. It is pretty useful for PVM, but unfortunately, we do have the Defense Cape to take over this role. Now 80 Divination is a requirement for unlocking Invention. Finally, we have the Memorial to Guthix, and you can access various perks. To be honest, Divination, while there are so many different uses, but most of them are actually tradable, so this skill isn't very essential. At number 9, we have Smithing. The main benefit of Smithing is that you have cheaper repair costs. However, because most equipment is augmented nowadays, it does not use a standard degrade system. So because of this, Smithing has become less valuable over the years. We do have Making Armor Spikes, which are untradable, and it's really awesome for melee combat because it reflects damage in melee distance. Just like Divination, 80 Smithing is required for Invention. Next up, we have Agility. Yeah, so this might be surprising to make it to the top 10, but here's why. While Agility is a very difficult skill to train, but it does have a lot of small quality of life benefits. You will recover your run energy faster, and this is minor, but it's still well worth noting anyways. Some notable agility shortcuts include Araxor, Kurodal's Dungeon, Taverley Dungeon, and many more. Agility also tends to be a requirement for many quests. Recently, we have the Anachronia Agility course, and this allows you to make money while training the skill itself. At number 7, we have Runecrafting. Honestly, this skill doesn't benefit much in combat, but runecrafting is arguably the most profitable non-combat skill in the game. Unfortunately, level 3 skillers won't be able to make good money per hour off of this, but people who can't be bothered to kill bosses have the option to make a lot of money per hour. The most profitable runes to craft are combination runes, nate runes, as well as blood runes. They can net you anywhere from 7 to 12 million GP per hour. Even though these methods are very known, but the profit per hour is always consistent. Well, the only problem is that it's quite click intensive though. Coming at number 6, we have Fletching. While there aren't many benefits at low levels, but it's extremely useful at high levels. The most sought after fletching items you can unlock are the Scrimshaws from player-owned ports. So I know what you may be thinking, well, Scrimshaws are actually tradable, Tony. However, the untradable versions are more resource efficient, plus they last longer. Not only that, but the effects are boosted slightly more than their inferior versions. The best Scrimshaws include Scrimshaw of Elements, Scrimshaw of Vampirism, and the Scrimshaw of Cruelty. We also have the Scrimshaw of Sacrifice, and that will make combat and Slayer training a lot faster. The next skill we have at number 5 is Firemaking. For many years, firemaking has become relatively useless. One of the benefits of firemaking include the Bonfire boost, which will increase the maximum HP. Not only is this useful for high level PVM, but it's still well worth it even for Slayer. Thanks to instant sticks recently, firemaking has become a lot more valuable. There are various perks for instant sticks, and those include increased poison damage, increased potion timers, 2% more XP overall, and many more. In case you don't know already, firemaking is not only a fast skill to train, but it's also super cheap. Number 4, Slayer. Although Slayer is not very beneficial at low levels, but it's very amazing at the mid plus the high levels. There are a lot of Slayer exclusive creatures like Abyssal Demons, Vyres, Arets, Dark Beasts, and many more to list. Most of the Slayer creatures in the game will offer you good combat and Slayer XP as well as good GP per hour. If you're level 99 Slayer, you get to access player owned dungeons as there are so many nice monsters to put there. In my opinion, this skill is really helpful for combat training. Now, I know what you might be thinking, well, isn't Slayer a combat skill? Like I said, what I classify as a combat skill are skills that only affect your combat level. Slayer points are also amazing as well because they allow you to add certain Slayer items to your tool belt, craft rod arrows for fletching, make Slayer rings for invention, and pretty much the list goes on. You know how on Reddit people tell you to do Slayer all the time? You might be wondering why is Slayer not ranked number 1 because of all this advice you get. While Slayer is very amazing itself, but the skills above this have more benefits overall. Seriously though, it's still nice that I made it very high on this list. Number 3, Dungeoneering. There are so many Dungeoneering rewards you can buy with Dungeoneering tokens. The most sought after rewards include Charming Imp, Bone Crusher, Scroll of Cleansing, Scroll of Efficiency, and of course, the list goes on. These rewards in general are helpful in many ways, both quality of life and scrolls that save you skilling materials for production skills. Other high level unlocks include Lucky Charms and Drop Enhancers, which they're sold in the elite dungeon shops. Dungeoneering tokens aren't the main reason why you want to train Dungeoneering, because there are some nice resource dungeons in the game. Those include Slayer Tower, Dwarven Mines, Hellhounds, Frost Dragons, Edemus, and of course, the list goes on and on. If you don't want to train Dungeoneering but you really want Dungeoneering tokens, then I do have a token farming guide, which I will leave the link in the description. At number 2, we have Herblore. With Herblore, unfortunately you won't see any benefits until the high levels. The most sought after reward from Herblore are Overloads. For 6 minutes constantly, they'll add 17 combat levels. This is huge for DPS and defensive increase. Honestly, the moment I unlocked Overloads, I used them pretty much everywhere. No, seriously, you're gonna get a huge supply of them while you're training Herblore. And that is not all, because you can combine Overloads into untradeable combination potions. They have various combination effects such as Prayer Renewal, Anti-Fire, and the Anti-Poison. The extreme scaling potions are also nice for boosting to a certain level, and those examples include Hunter for Charming Moths, Invention for unlocking blueprints and better perks, Divination for Hollow Memories, and Runecrafting for Soul Altar. And finally, at number 1 we have Invention. This is the first elite skill in RuneScape, and it requires 80 Divination, Smithing, and Crafting. There are so many unlocks for Invention in the game. These include perks, machines, devices, etc. Invention perks themselves are a game changer alone for bossing and Slayer. They have a pretty nice overall increase in DPS. Then we also have the Invention machines, and they offer you pretty nice profit per day. Not to mention that you can craft elite skilling outfits, which obviously it has so many benefits for skilling. Overall, Invention helps with combat, skilling, and money making. To this day, I find that Invention by far is the most useful skill in RuneScape. So this wraps up my video on the top 10 most useful skills in RuneScape for 2019. Once again, I only put non-combat skills because, like I said, combats are very important to train, so you should always train these first. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope it helps. If I missed anything, feel free to ask. Also, be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already, because I'll definitely do more top 10s in the future.